I'm back today with the gorgeous Melanie.
Hello.
Yay.
Yay.
We're finally getting to sit down and film this video that we talked about for the longest time.
For months, guys.
Like over a year we've been like, we have to do that video.
Yeah. Every time we hang out we kind of talk about this subject of anxiety because it's something that affects both our lives quite a lot.
You'll all know from being my subscribers, but you might know Melanie, and if not, go click on her face right now and that'll take you over to her channel. We did a Q&A over there and answered a lot of questions that people wanted to know. Yeah. So today we're literally going to sit down and talk about anxiety and our journey, how we dealt with it. You know mine, I've talked about it before. If you're new to my channel, you can check down below. All the videos will be in a playlist.
We just want to have an informal chat about this because it's mental health is something that's just close to both our hearts after dealing with it, and I feel like the more we all talk about this, the more normal it becomes to talk.
And that's what it is normal. Like, so normal. I think that we're the normal ones because we have these feelings.
Yeah.
Some people who just...
Because we talk about these feelings.
Exactly.
I don't believe that there's a single human being out there that hasn't ever struggled with this. I really don't. Because everyone I've talked to has. And some people just have their own way of dealing with it where they'll hold it in. And that is fine, but it's just a lot harder then on you. It's a lot more stress that you don't need to be putting yourself under that stress. So yeah, I'll launch in because I'll end up waffling the ears off you. So mine kind of all started when I was a teenager. I think I was 18 or 19 when I started noticing certain symptoms and things different, because when I was a teenager, you know, I had the usual kind of and mom won't let me do this, and you know, I would be nervous about exams and all those kind of things that usually teenagers go through. But I definitely didn't have anxiety then because it was so different from what I felt later on, and it kind of came on after a really bad period, a really rough period in my life. So my nana had passed away and she was like my mother, and then my long-term relationship fell apart, unhealthy relationship basically. We just didn't really know what we were doing because we were so young
as teenagers.
Yeah. And then I lost my job. So the job I was in, well, I left my job for various reasons, but I was going to be losing the job anyway because the shop was closing down, and there was a bunch of stuff.
That's all things in your life that like were changing.
Massive changes.
That's what happens, I think. All of this stems from change.
Yes.
And like you were feeling so many different things and going through so many different emotions that your body was bound to feel it.
Yeah, it's basically the way your body reacts to that. Now you can develop anxiety when nothing even is changing in your life, but for a lot of people big changes triggers it. And I just noticed that I started not wanting to go to things that usually I'd be super excited to go to. Like if I was on nights out, I'd get really, really conscious of people around me and being in groups of people. And then I started, even at family functions, like it was a thing with my breathing changed. I just stopped. I started being very aware that I wasn't breathing properly. And you should always breathe a certain way. It's just very important to get oxygen into our body. But even I'm doing it now. I don't know why I'm doing it now, but because
you're talking about it as
well.
we've
been talking about this for like ages on my channel. But I would hold my breath an awful lot, and kind of, it's like this big weight would be, imagine someone like standing on your chest kind of thing, and
it is pressure. Like you can
actually
feel the pressure.
It's like a person, like a monster standing on you, and it kind of, all these things when you're worrying about a lot of things, and a lot of things in life scares you. So things about the future, and you know, if you're a worrier and all those kind of things can build up. So I just got to a point where every day, for a few days in a row, I woke up and the whole day was just panic attacks. And panic attacks are something I didn't even know what they were, and there wasn't YouTubers talking about it. There was no like my dad didn't know anything about it. My friends,
my
mom
friends didn't know like what I was going through either, and I was trying to explain it, and she was like, oh, maybe it's this and this. The minute I said it to a doctor, they were like, that's a panic attack, and I was like, what? Panic attack?
What?
What's that?
It was
seriously,
awful.
I didn't know what it was.
And I feel like I love if schools talked about this, because at the time, and like if I had known what I was going through, it would have been way less scary.
Yeah.
But it was like, my dad was trying to do everything he could to like distract me from what was going on. So he was bringing me to the cinema and all things that usually calms me down. I don't even remember. He brought me to see a Sacha Baron Cohen movie, and I don't remember anything that happened in the movie.
Because you were so in your head.
I was just in my head. I was just, it's like everything, when it happens to me, it feels like I have one line of vision, but everything around it is kind of going like this, and it's like, it's just like you're not in your body.
It's like you're just literally focusing that much on the thoughts in your head that everything else is blocked out.
Yeah.
Like, I could be watching a film and so often I'll realise, like, I haven't watched this for about 20 minutes.
Yeah. What have I been doing? I've been living in here, like, and you're not experiencing the moment. And so when I kind of realised that I was having panic attacks and things like that, like my dad made me go see people, and I ended up going to, like, there was, when it got really bad, because I was freaking out, like, guys, it wasn't just a thing of like, oh, I'm having a panic attack. Like, I was freaking out. I thought I was dying. I was screaming, crying. When I was crying, there was like snot coming down my face. I was in bits. Like, I didn't know. I thought I was going to die. And my dad brought me to see someone, and then they sent us to someone, like, not like a institution. I don't even know where it was, but it was someone really, like, it just freaked me out. And I started hyperventilating. I was just freaking out. And I got put on Xanax then, and they set up counselling sessions, and I didn't want to go to them. I was like, no, I'm not going to some strange lady to tell her.
In my mind, I thought of in the films when crazy people went to therapists, and you know, like, I had that idea in my head, like, oh my god, I am nuts.
Yeah.
And it's not, like,
you're not
at all. That's the way society has made it.
It conditions you to think that you're crazy if you need a therapist, you need someone to talk to. But it's something that is just gone from our society. We don't talk to each other anymore, or tell each other. We don't tell our family or our close partners so how we're actually feeling. And I feel like that's so important, because the second that I got on top of it, so as we were just saying in the other video we did, like, once I started going to talk to someone, it was like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, and they helped me talk through it and figure out, like, what was actually wrong and where it was all stemming from. So it was like just I was fearing like my whole life was just like ruined. Like, I had this image in my head of where I was going to be in a few years, and because, like, my relationship broke down and I didn't have the job anymore, so I was on social welfare, and all these things changed. I gained loads of weight, and that was really bothering me at the time. Like, I just kind of was, I just couldn't. I was emotionally eating a lot, and I felt like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do?
I was like me. I was like, what is my life?
Yeah.
Like, I got to the point where I was like, I can't go to the shops. I can't have a shower. I can't feel normal.
Yeah. Did you feel like you didn't want to wash either? Like,
even though when I did wash, I felt like I'm not clean. Like, I was completely OCD. Like, that was like a different person. I always say to anyone when I'm explaining it, it was like a skeleton of me, because I look back and I'm like, how did it consume me that much, and how did I let it get to me that much?
Bad.
And then I thought there was no hope, but there is.
Yeah.
Look
There's
at us now.
I just can't believe, like, what we're doing now. Like, I never ever would have thought in a million years that I would do something like this, because I used to just worry so much about what people thought of me, and I just developed all these weird tics and habits that I used to do, and I just thought I was mad as a bush. Like, mental. So it's some ways that I kind of knew that it was getting all too much was that I became very, very messy and dirty, and I hate saying that and admitting that, but I just didn't care about hygiene. I didn't care about my looks. I wasn't looking after my hair,
so
my
many
skin.
people.
Really
does. And they don't care.
Yeah.
They've just not, like, they couldn't be arsed.
I did not care. I used to literally, like, not bother. I never washed my face, never wore makeup. Not that you have to wear makeup, but I used to love wearing makeup, and I stopped. I started just throwing all my clothes on the floor. My whole bedroom was a dump, and I didn't do washing. I didn't clean the house. I just did nothing except I would eat and I would play computer games, because that was my escape. And now, like, that one computer game, which was World of Warcraft, I'm sure people watching this don't know what that is, but that was like, I can't even, if I hear that now, I think of that time,
it brings you back to
it. Like, the whole year was just gone. It was just like that, and I wish now someone had gotten in there and jolted me and said, like, this is what you're going through, and this is how you can come out on the other end. And that's why we kind of want to make videos like this, because if someone had have sat me down when I was in that shit place and said to me, like, look at me, you could be like me, like, in a couple of years, I would have been like, what? Like, really? Like, how? And just to have someone believe in you, no matter how bad of a place that you're in, you can definitely come out of it on the other end. In terms of, like, medication and then lifestyle stuff, like, for you, do you think it was a combination? Do you think it was more one than the other? Do you think it was people who pulled you out of it?
I think everything, like, there was so many factors. I had to leave Australia when I was going through my worst period of depression, and come home because I was so sick. I had to be put straight onto antidepressants. But I also had a counsellor, and I also had my family, and I had like my little bubble that made me come out of it. I think the antidepressants, they had me on a high where I wasn't depressed anymore, but I also wasn't normal.
It's a fake high,
I was like high as a kite, like nothing fazed me. And I am an anxious person. I was from the day I was born. I'm a worrier. I overthink things, and I think that's completely normal. But this was the total end of the scale where I was like, couldn't be arsed about anything. Life just passed me by. And
it's not good either. It's not good at all.
Isn't. So,
and I know it seems like a great alternative, and like of course it seems like
it is the only answer for some people.
For some people, it definitely is, and it can definitely be a tool that you can take for a time. But I wouldn't advise that you try and become dependent on antidepressants, because there's another way, like educating yourself, reading a lot of books about mindfulness and positivity and things like that, and then bringing lots of steps into your life to change it, getting rid of negative people, addressing your lifestyle so that you're actually getting out in the sunlight, you're drinking water, you're eating whole foods and stuff like that. Everyone says that, I know, but it does work. It's a massive change that you feel so empowered that you're looking after yourself then, and you're like, I want to do more of this, and I want to go out, and I want to
the more
socialize.
Of this you do, the better you feel. Like I always feel like before you start something, you're like, oh, the minute you finish it, you're like so happy.
Yeah.
Like with exercise, I'm always like, I can't do it. And then after, I'm like, yes, I'm
Woo-hoo!
so happy. Like,
doesn't it give you a boost of energy and like endorphins?
Things, yeah, they release endorphins, happy endorphins, which like counteracts the negatives. Yeah. I think one of the most important things is being a positive person and being in a good frame of mind. The more you feed your mind with negativity, the more anxiety latches onto it.
Yeah, it attracts
and
more
you
negativity.
Pull all this negativity into you. Like if you're focusing, you get up your day and you focus on something bad, it'll just keep going that way.
Yeah, it's so true. That was one of the biggest things for me ever, and I always overlook this as like, oh whatever, but it was a massive thing for me, was reading The Secret.
Oh, I read The Secret as well.
Unreal. And I know a lot of people go, oh, that's such a stupid book, but it's not about that book. It's just about the one message in that book that it tells you that like attracts like. So if you think about, right, my day is going to be like this, my life is going to be like this, I'm going to be like this, then you will become that. And I know that sounds so stupid and simple, but it actually affects your brain chemistry. It makes you do things subconsciously to get towards
better yourself,
and so
work towards
if you're like waking up every day and you're going like, I'm so anxious, I'm gonna have a panic attack today, this and you're obviously like doing this doesn't completely eradicate it, but it's a huge coping mechanism, massively. It's such a good way to deal with it. So read that book, The Secret. It's excellent book. And I feel like
it's all about taking the first few steps. Like the first step is being aware of what you're going through, then talk to somebody and seek medical help, because you don't want it to get too bad.
No. And even the medical help, like even if they don't put you on anything, it's the act of going and telling your doctor, and then they'll even set up for you to talk to someone. If you're in university, there's free counselling that you can avail of, and in schools they have that as well. And I feel like a lot of people don't know about that.
No, I didn't know about that either. Paid a bleeding fortune for
news
counselling.
To me.
When I was in Australia, they actually had a free service for teens to 25-year-olds.
Oh, that's so
free
good.
counselling service, so that was good. There is so many outlets, like internet, like there's so many YouTubers that have come out. Like I've read Cheryl Cole's book and she suffered from it. Like there are massive successful people that are going through it.
And they're still successful. It doesn't mean like
it's not going to change anything.
We still deal with it sometimes, but we know how to cope with it now. We know that it's not going to be the end of the world, because that's what will make or break you. If you decide, right, this is my life now, I'm an anxious person, I'm stuck with this for the rest of my life.
Or if you just say, I am an anxious person, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I always say, just accept it and you will be able to deal with it so much more. If you're just like, yeah, okay, that's me.
Yeah.
And accept it. Like fighting it is the worst thing you can do.
So good to talk about this to you guys.
If anyone needs more advice or wants to talk to us anonymously, you can comment below or you can email me. I always get back to people because I think it's such a...
It's important.
It's a hard thing to do as well, is talk to someone.
Reach out to someone, yeah.
And that's all that you need to do. And I wish there was someone when I was going through it that was like, this is so normal. Yeah. And I did have friends at the time, but just to know that it is so fine to talk about it and just get help and ease your life and just have a better life, because it's not nice feeling this way.
No.
Well, that way.
When we're going through our good patches, it's fine though.
Yeah.
We'll be grand. We'll all be grand together. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it this far, give it a thumbs up.
And go check out Melanie's video,
Yes.
because we answered so many anxiety related questions there.
Yeah.
If you want to see more of this beauty, go click on her videos and subscribe. You
Thanks,
definitely
love.
will. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you liked the video, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Get out of my video.
Jane!